people stress there a lot. I think in China, people generally more happy that Korean culture, in many cases, is based on Chinese culture. A lot of people around the world know it as a Korean dish because of K-pop dramas, but originally it's coming from China.
那么你之前也是在韩国留过学啊，现在呢又来上海留学了，你觉得中国帮韩国啊有没有什么区别？
Well, I love China much more. I'm sorry, Korea, but this is the truth. I spent around 7 years in Korea. It was a great experience. If I was asked, I would do it again, definitely. But I think in terms of life, Korea is a bit stressful. As a country for visiting, as a tourist place, it's just like great place. But for working, I don't know. People stress there a lot. I think in China, people generally more happy. People enjoy their life. And like my friends here in China, even though they hardworking, they can get only one Sunday every week. They're still more happy. So I feel China could be compared to Korea in the sense of stress, but people enjoy life here more. And so do I.
那么萨莎，这个中国的文化和韩国的文化，你觉得最大的区别在哪里呢？
Because I lived in Korea and I'm in China. So when I was in Russia, people were coming like, oh, how it's different. What do you prefer? And I think Korean culture is very popular. K-pop is everywhere, right? They call it Hallyu, Korean wave. But what people miss out is that Korean culture, in many cases, is based on Chinese culture. I mean, traditionally, the language itself, for me, I'm just a beginner learner for Chinese, but it's much easier to understand Chinese because I know Korean. And as it turns out, Korean is based on Chinese. Also, let's say a Korean traditional dress, hanbok. A lot of people across all the world admire hanbok, but what people don't know is that hanbok was at some point a traditional clothes in China. So at some point, Chinese people brought it to Korea and it stayed in Korea. So there's a lot of similarities, and Korean culture is beautiful, it's unique, but you shouldn't forget your own roots, right? You know, in Russia, we have a culture of drinking tea. For people who didn't know about it. It's a bit different from China because in China you have a small pot, very beautiful cups, right? And you pour it, you enjoy it. For Russia, it's a bit different. So we have a big pot and we can drink tea the whole day long. I really love tea. And when I just came to Korea, I had a struggle finding tea. In my head, it was, how is this possible? Like, why Korea doesn't have tea? And later, it turns out, that basically in Korea, because they wanted to be separated from Chinese culture as much as possible, they didn't want to admit the tea drinking culture. So in Korea, it was impossible to find like tea in coffee shops. Right now, culture is changing. Right now, they provide tea like in every place. You can find different kinds. But back then, like 10 years ago, it was like only coffee. American coffee, Americano, right? Another good example is very famous jjajangmyeon. So in Korean, it's jjajangmyeon, and in Chinese, jjajangmyeon. A lot of people around the world know it as a Korean dish because of K-pop dramas, but originally it's coming from China. So yeah. It's a bit updated. It's Korean fusion, but still it's a Beijing dish, right? So, or another example is Korean tonsoyuk, and in Chinese is, what is it in Chinese? Guobaro. Like,
yeah.
So it's coming from Dongbei, but I think like for many foreigners around the world, it's very Korean. So yeah, here you go. So many dishes that coming from China, but people think it's Korean. Well.
那么萨莎，我也反过来问你啊，你觉得韩国有没有什么比我们中国要做得好的？
Everyone knows the answer. It's fashion and cosmetics. And all the girls love to put makeup and being pretty. So I'm not the exception, right? I really enjoy that part of Korea. So many different brands, so many different kinds of cosmetics for like makeup, so many different fashion trends and K-fashion, they call it. So yeah, I think that's great. Another great part about Korea and Korean people is how they promote their own country. Is you know, China has so much attractions. China's history and culture is so great. It's like 5,000 years. But I think like China is a bit lagging behind in terms of marketing and advertising, because everybody knows about Korea. Everybody loves Korea, and everybody knows about Korean culture because everybody's watching TV, K-dramas, listen to Korean songs. So I think Koreans did very good job. So let's say there is nothing, like there is no particular attraction of a certain place, but Koreans, they do such a great marketing job. They just put some labels, they create a photo spot, and people gonna come, people gonna pay money, and people gonna enjoy it, and they're gonna tell all other people. I think it's amazing. I think like everybody, not only China, I think everybody has to learn this